Welcome back, Caddy Corner, episode 30.
Whoop, whoop.
This was a surprise that we were recording this episode today, boys, because we did not know it was episode 30.
No.
But it is. First of all, we are looking at you today directly.
Yeah, radio show style.
Caleb was digging the set, this kind of vibe, and I got to be honest, I think it's pretty dope.
For this type of episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think it just works out good.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to play around with this new kind of look. Hopefully you guys think it looks cool. But we've been talking about it ever since forever now.
Yeah, probably. How long you think?
It was supposed to be episode 20 originally.
Yeah, I know it was.
Probably 15 weeks. This is the episode 30 Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the long-awaited episode 30 Q&A.
The long-awaited episode, and we almost missed it. So
yeah, we did.
We almost totally skipped it. But anyways, we have the Google form here that's been opened for ever. We have 7 questions that we're going to answer, and they are all kind of long-winded questions that will take us a bit probably.
Sounds good.
And we are just going to roll with it. We have said it in a couple of different episodes, but we cannot see like the individual responses, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we're going to have some kind of way to put everybody's names on the thing. Without further ado, though, we're just going to start from the very top and go down the list.
Sounds like a plan.
I suppose. So question number 1 of the episode 30 Q&A is, what is your favorite childhood memory?
Holy cow.
I know that's a tough one, right?
Yeah, off the bat,
Off the dome is very difficult. I don't really have a great answer for this off the dome, honestly. I'm trying to think of trips. What does childhood count as?
I don't know, but I can tell you. I'll tell you the first memory that I have.
Okay.
So, it was preschool, and we were on the playground, and me and my buddies, we used to play this game, and we'd call it Tornado. And so on our playground, there was the big playground, with the slide and the monkey bars, and they had a fire pole,
sure,
the sliding pole. Those were always fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the game of Tornado is basically whoever was the tornado, they would spin around with their arms out, and then you would have to try and tag people, and you were the tornado.
While spinning.
So you would be spinning around, and the people would be running away from you, and you'd try and tag them. So a pretty crazy game. And so one day, I was the tornado, and I was just spinning around, going and trying to tag people, and next thing I know, I hit my head on the fire pole.
Tornadoed into the fire pole.
Yeah. And so, I was pretty young, and my sister, she goes to school for early childhood education, and so I was like, what age, I just asked her this a couple weeks ago, I was like, what age do kids usually have their first memory? And she was like, usually 4 or 5, and then they said unless something traumatic happens, and then their memory, they'll remember that from whenever they're younger. And I was like, that is so crazy that I remember that from so long ago. And it's probably because that's a traumatic moment in my life.
You weren't 4 or 5 then?
No, I think I was 3.
Okay. That's pretty close, though.
I mean, yeah, pretty close, but...
Interesting.
That's the first memory I have.
How about that?
The first memory that I remember having. It's not a very good one.
No, but
so I'll have to think of something else for my favorite childhood memory.
I think, and this is just the earliest childhood memory that I can think of that is a good childhood memory, is I can remember being probably 4 or 5 or 6 and going to Halloween Disney. Which that would have been 2007. So it was, I don't know, I just remember dressing up and going to Disney as a child.
Yeah, Disney as a kid too, for me.
Yeah.
I went whenever I was 5. That was a real fun time. And I actually, I was real young, but I remember a majority of my time there.
I feel like Disney as a kid is mostly meeting all of your heroes.
Yeah,
Does that
definitely.
make sense? It's not so much ride roller coaster and have fun. It's I'm going to go meet.
The person I watch on TV.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So
I actually have a funny story about that trip too. So we went to Disney and SeaWorld.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever been to SeaWorld?
Yeah.
You know how they do the shows?
Yeah.
And
it's kind of the whole shtick.
Yeah, so I was watching the Seal show, and at this point in time, it was pirate themed, and so there was this dude actor, and he did a front flip off of this like big boat into the water, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So later that night at the Disney hotel, I thought it would be a good idea for me to do a front flip, like 5-year-old self, into like the 3-foot deep pool.
Yeah.
I did it.
You didn't like die?
No, I didn't hit my head or anything, but yeah, it could have been.
That could have been horrible.
Could have been real bad.
Yeah.
But it was not, and so
Worked out. Now we're here.
that's a pretty good childhood memory.
Pretty good childhood memory. That's a hard question, and if you think of anything else, we can circle back.
Yeah.
But I feel like we did a good job off the dome for favorite childhood memory.
Yeah, I think so too.
I like this question a lot. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Where my head first goes is what can you eat every single day that's gonna not necessarily turn you into like a circle? You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you could easily just be like, well, my favorite food is cheeseburger, so I'll eat cheeseburger every day.
Yeah, that would not be very good.
No.
I
I would probably personally have to say like my Chipotle order, I would eat that every day. That would probably be mine. Just because like it isn't like that bad. It's a lot of calories, but it's like all kind of organic and good, I guess. And like I don't have to cook it. So that to me is a plus. If I have to eat it every day, so think if you wanted to eat like a steak and potatoes that's made at your house, you have to make it every day.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, like you don't have the option to escape that. So I would say my Chipotle order just because you can just eat it.
So how much wiggle room are we given here? Like can we
I think you can give it as much wiggle room as you want to give it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with a grilled chicken breast and a potato.
Okay. I understand. So like a potato can be French fries or
a potato could be French fries or potato wedges or baked potato.
Sure.
And then grilled chicken breast, you can eat it with any sauce,
Facts.
any seasoning.
Yeah.
So you can make it as versatile as you want or as plain as you want. And so, final answer.
That was a good one. That was a good way to manipulate the system. Very good.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Next up, and this is the question right here. If you were a fish, what ocean would you live in?
Holy cow.
I know. And also answer, what fish would you be? I feel like that's an important factor. Yeah.
Well, considering I don't know much about marine biology and I don't really know what fish live in which ocean, but my final answer is pufferfish in the Indian Ocean.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely a hard one. I would have to go for... I feel like shark is a bad answer. So we're going to go for clownfish.
Ah.
Yeah. In the Great Barrier Reef, which I guess is in the Pacific Ocean. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Does Australia have its own ocean? No, yeah.
No.
Then it's got to be the Pacific Ocean. Final answer.
That's a good answer.
I think so. I feel like shark is a cop-out.
Yeah, shark is like the lion of the land.
That's what I'm saying.
And so that's just two.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like me, like I can still kill
Sure.
predators, you know?
I don't know if they
'Cause-
can kill predators.
The ones who got the poisonous spikes
That's true.
make you blow up like a balloon
Yeah. Yeah.
as they blow up like a balloon.
Yeah. That's true. Double blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess it is good.
So
It could be fun. Like,
I don't know if those live in the Indian Ocean. I would assume they do.
I feel like,
I feel like every like sea creature lives in every ocean.
for the most part, I feel like it's the same way, yeah. I don't know a lot about the Indian Ocean.
I don't know
I actually
anything.
I know nothing about the Indian Ocean.
I think that's why I wanted to pick it.
Yeah,
Mystery.
So you could learn about it.
Yeah,
as
I
a
could
pufferfish.
be a pufferfish exploring the Indian Ocean.
Valid. That's a good answer. It's a good way to think about it. What are our thoughts on time travel? Think it's real? Think it could be real? I don't think it could be real.
You see, this is such a hard question because, like, me right now thinks that it couldn't be real, but also like George Washington probably thought that cell phones couldn't be real.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no even like perspective on what George Washington was thinking, though. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, just because like times were so different, but they didn't have like, a lick of technology.
It's true.
So he was not. If somebody was like, "What are your thoughts on being able to talk to your buddy on this box of electronics
Yeah,
from
that's true.
the other cross of the world?" And he'd be like, "That's never gonna happen."
I just don't think it could feasibly happen at all. I just don't understand how. Well, and I mean, I think that what you're saying is totally fair enough, but I just don't. If I was betting on it, I'd say it's not real. There's no way it could be real.
Yeah, I think if I had to put money on it, I would totally say that it's not real.
Yeah.
But I also think that I like to keep an open mind.
Oh, well, I would like to keep it open. Would you go back in time if it was like a thing?
See, and I've heard people talk about time travel, and traveling back in time is not real, but traveling forward in time is like whenever time travel is a thing, or if it ever will be, you're not allowed to travel back in time.
According to who?
The time travel people.
Well, obviously
Aliens
they don't
or something.
They don't know much if they can't do it yet.
Well, apparently, if you travel, they have it. They've said that if you travel back in time, then like butterfly effect, and then you mess everything up.
I understand.
If you like pick up a rock, and you go back in time, if you like step on the dirt the wrong way, then like, everything in the future will be different. But if you travel to the future, then nothing in the past can be changed. So you can travel to the future and travel back to the present time, but you can't travel to the past.
Well, that would be lame. I wouldn't want to go to the future. I'm totally uninterested in traveling to the future. 100%. I wouldn't want to go to the future at all. I'd go to the past, though.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. I haven't really done my research on time travel, really.
No. I just don't think it could be real, honestly.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. Well, that's our thoughts on time travel. Why start the podcast? What a loaded question.
Man, that is so loaded.
We can kind of go off on this if you want to. We can go off on this for a while, but it all started at the small town, hometown Mexican restaurant.
No Way Jose's.
No Way Jose's. I'll just speak for myself. I was bored at the time. Class was easy, and I wanted to do something fun and creative and collaborative. And I just wanted to do some kind of content. And this is fun because I get to just talk about stuff that I like to talk about. And I get to also create the thing that we make. So that was pretty much why it came about, in my opinion. That's at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with you. And we've had these conversations off camera a ton. But I was kind of in the same place where my first semester of college, I didn't have any like creative style classes or like art style classes, you could say. And so I went from high school and like making things all the time to not making anything at all and just kind of just doing whatever. And so I was in the same kind of spot where I just wanted to create something, and we were kind of just like both in the right place at the right time, because at the beginning of this, it was supposed to be 4 dudes and it was going to be like our homies, and we were all home, and so we all could get together and hang out, and also we were all kind of interested in the same things, and so we were going to make this podcast for you guys. And so it was kind of just like we were all, well, I shouldn't say we all, but at the time,
the idea was that everybody was here. Why not?
Yeah, why not start something that we've been talking about for however long? And so that's why we started.
And I even think, too, like the evolution of the podcast has been something that I think is like unique and interesting to look at. And
yeah,
we don't talk about that a lot because you guys, like, I assume, like, you're not so interested in hearing about the nuance and the behind the scenes and how Caleb and I kind of go about doing the podcast and content as a whole. But I mean, we talk a ton about. That's all we talk about. It's all we work on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of is our whole main shtick.
Yeah.
Know? Like, we work on this all week. We make a awesome piece of content, and that's the thing too. Is like another kind of big thing for me, and after it just being like a collaborative, creative experience that I get to do every week, it's also just like a way to share my perspective on the world.
Definitely.
Which is what I care about the most. not really because I think that I know everything, but mostly just because I know that there are people out there who relate to people like Caleb and I who like stayed home and worked on, like did college in like a different kind of way, and even like the creative stuff. Like we're two dudes that live in a tiny little town that are making a podcast and like trying to explain that to our immediate circle of humans that live in our tiny hometown is like tough.
Yeah.
So, like I just think that sharing that perspective is important, and that's kind of why, like from a like ideological perspective, that is where I kind of come from. Is I just want to like spread the message. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot, but we don't know a lot about the things that we talk about. But just being able to share the things that we do know to an audience who is obviously open to taking the advice that we give, because like we get feedback and we get views and like all this stuff, and like DMs and all that stuff means a ton. But just like knowing that people are taking the things that you're saying, that is definitely what fuels it.
Yeah.
I think is because we don't do this for us, other than like just keeping ourselves sharp in between the ears, just because it makes you feel good whenever you like complete a task or whatever. But knowing that people are listening and people are enjoying, that's what keeps it going, I would say.
100%. And I also just think too, like if the people that we're talking to are people kind of in our same age demo, and like a kind of philosophy that I've lived by, especially ever since I got to college, is if you just treat every human that's around you as if they're like way smarter than you, and you just listen and like observe and learn from them, like you'll just like understand the way that the world works so much better, because you're open to everybody's perspectives on how they like interact with the world and stuff.
Yeah.
And so all that we're doing is that same process for theoretically anybody in the world to listen to.
Yeah.
Easily and accessibly. So, and that's kind of the thing is, like, no, like fundamentally, maybe we don't know like the psychology of why doing a podcast every week makes us like super productive. Maybe we don't understand that, but we can tell you that like having this podcast and having the structure that it's provided to our lives has like increased so many aspects, at least for me. Like
Every aspect.
Yeah, every aspect. And so I don't know why that happens, but
I couldn't tell you that.
I can explain to you that like that does work. Does that make sense?
Oh,
so, yeah. We're just here to help people out. That's kind of the bottom line, I think. And that's what it's become. It was not going to be that originally, but that's what it's become.
No, it definitely was not supposed to be that originally.
No.
And I guess, do you want to talk about that at all?
Basically, the original idea for this show was that it was going to be like more of an entertainment, jokey, I guess, kind of show, where we, like Caleb said, like it was just going to originally be 4 of like our high school homies that were all in our hometown, and we were just going to talk about life, and very similar to After Hours, if you've seen that show, similar format. But it just kind of didn't end up being the direction that, at least for me, I didn't really want to go that direction anymore.
Yeah.
Mostly because I kind of knew that I couldn't do that every week for like a sustainable amount of time.
Definitely.
It's hard to be entertaining,
Yeah.
I definitely don't claim that that's what I do on this show. Absolutely not. I think I do okay, but it's not like my number one focus. I don't think that I'm that good at that. I'm just here to like talk, but we just we kind of pivoted to this kind of more, what do you call our show? Like a informative show? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely say an informative show.
Yeah. And then we have After Hours, which is that same kind of outlet where it's basically just where Caleb and I just talk about life on the pod. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Instead of, like, we kind of just hold off telling each other stuff until After Hours.
It's literally our everyday conversations that we would have. We just
do it
have
on the
it
podcast.
on like
recording, basically. Yeah. So that's kind of it for, why start the podcast. That's kind of, in a nutshell, it. I mean, we can do an entire podcast on this.
Yeah, that's basically.
In a condensed nutshell, that's pretty much it. Why start the podcast? Just, at least for me, like spread the message. I feel like I have stuff to say, so I say it, and I do it on the podcast. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next question, we have 2 questions left. But let's do this one first because it kind of relates better. GOAT episode for us. Our best episode of the podcast.
Man.
My answer is episode 20, Caddy Corner Retrospective. That is my favorite episode that we've ever done.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that episode. I think that we just kind of talked about everything in that show, and I just feel like we were on a roll that day. Like we just killed it. I think that was like maybe one of the first shows that we ever did where we didn't have like mirrored notes, where we had like the same plan. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a good thing that we did, and it's also like pretty long. And I feel like it's sort of like this show where we just kind of talk about things that we don't normally talk about on the podcast. We talked about it on Retrospective. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. Episode 20 is Caddy Corner Retrospective. But
who knows more about Caddy Corner than we do?
Facts. That's it.
Because it's our little baby.
That's true. And nobody else is really a part of it directly. So
yeah. I would say that our I would say that our best series has been the Back to School series.
Yeah, it's also been like kind of our only series though.
Yeah, and I would say that my favorite episodes out of that series are the
Professor episodes.
Professor episodes.
Yeah.
Those are just so information packed.
I also think shooting on site is a major W too.
Yeah.
I just think like shaking up the look. This is like just from the video side of it. Like we shot those podcasts like on campus at the respective institutions, which I feel like is a cool vibe. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those are really good episodes too. I mean, every episode that we do is a banger. There's a couple of them that are like, but but I mean, every episode that we do, pretty much. I don't think we've ever posted an episode that we just were like, this is terrible.
No.
Except, well, we didn't even post episode 1. I think that was terrible at the time.
No, we didn't think it was terrible at the time. But also, like, speaking on this a little bit more, and I talked about this a little bit, I think after I recorded the podcast, like with my dad, but just like that has definitely been one of my favorite episodes to record.
Yeah, for sure.
Just being able to like record with like my dad who doesn't know anything about this or whatever, and like me being able to talk to him about what I do and him being able to talk to me about what he does it was super cool and super fun episode to record.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something that we've been like slacking on, but not even really. It's just like people are busy and it's hard. But we need to like bring guests back into the show and stuff like that. And I will say, I think we say this every single time we talk about guests, but we have ideas. Genuinely, we have ideas now that we are like, I don't know if we're actively pursuing any of them, probably not, but like we will probably have a couple guest episodes before the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
No promises, but probably, most likely, I would say that we'll be able to do it. Last question that I have here is, what should I know to prepare for college?
Man, that's a good question.
It's another loaded question that we could go on for forever.
Yeah.
Number one piece of advice to know before you prepare for college is we have an entire back to school series that's like 6 episodes long. Or
yeah, go
like
listen
that.
to it.
Go listen to that. That'll take you like, oh man, that's a long one kind of. That'll take you probably
4 weeks. Well, if it was 4 weeks of recording, it'd take you. If you want to listen to one podcast a day, I think it would take you 5 days.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's a 5 or 6.
5 or 6 episode series.
5 or 6 episode series. So definitely check that out. Super informative. And some of our best episodes, honestly. We were on a roll that week.
Yeah, we really were.
Well, I guess it was like a month and a half of recording.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But
that's what we know about.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
But
my biggest piece of advice is figure out how to get organized. So organize your thoughts, organize your schedule, organize your day, figure out work. Like just get your life in order before you go to school. Don't move into college and then expect to get your life in check. It just doesn't work that way. Don't, go to class for the first time and expect everything to just be laid out for you. It just isn't like that. Like you got to get your life together before you go. That would be my number one piece of advice probably.
Yeah. One thing that has helped me a ton since I started college is creating a balance. So like a work to school to free time ratio is super, super important because you can't spend all your time doing school because you'll go insane, and you can't spend all your time watching TikTok because then you'll fail out of college. And also it's good for you to work and make money for one and learn skills for two. I would recommend work to everybody who's in school.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because it's a place where you can go to get away from the actual schoolwork and still be productive, and also learning skills is gonna just build your resume. It's gonna help you every single time. And so I would say coming up with a a balanced schedule is super important.
Definitely.
And also learn how to take notes, because I'm serious, guys. If you're in high school, listen to your parents whenever they tell you that you need to learn how to take notes and you need to learn how to study, because I did not listen to my parents whenever they told me that. And whenever I got in college, I failed tests because I did not take notes good and I did not study well. So it is a very important skill to learn how to use, because the answers to the test aren't on Quizlet in college. That's
Sometimes
how
they are. But
Sometimes they are, but most of the time they're not, especially whenever you start taking classes that are actually related to your major. Most of the tests are teacher-made, and they're not getting their answers off Quizlet, and you're going to have to know the information, and you're going to have to remember the information. So figuring out a way that you can take notes and make it fun for yourself is super important, and figuring out a way to study the notes that you take and be able to remember and retain the information is so important.
yeah, for sure. Another thing that I would say too is in high school and stuff, your teachers become your friends because you see them every day. It does not happen that way in college, especially if you go to a big institution where you've got 300-man lecture halls. This isn't something that you have to do, but I would recommend being friendly with your professor. Make them know your name and your face. I would recommend that. I go to a small school, so my professors know my name and face. You have the same situation.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important, because if they know who you are, whenever you email them for help, they're going to be more likely to, understand that you actually exist as a human being, rather than you just sent somebody the wrong email.
Yeah.
So that's another important thing that I would definitely recommend.
And another thing that I would recommend, kind of relating to that, is if you go to a big institution, and even if you go to a small one, it is really easy to skip class, I would say, because the teachers, they don't care, or professors or instructors or whatever, they don't care if you come to class. They don't care if you submit the work, because they're getting a payday either way. You're the one who's paying them to go to school, so you have to hold yourself accountable, and you have to do the work yourself, because they don't have any reason to hold you accountable. So just realize that ahead of time, because I know a ton of people who are like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I just skip class because whatever, but just make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, you're going to class, you're submitting the work, because nobody's going to get on to you if you're not doing it, but you're only hurting yourself. So
For sure. And then my kind of last point that I want to make is understand why you're there at college. If you're at a big institution and you went there just to get away from your family and go and do college stuff for 4 years, then know what you signed up for and know what the repercussions are of that. If you went to school with the intention of going to grad school, then understand that and understand what comes along with that. Like, you're not going to be able to go to all of the functions and all of that kind of stuff. Like, you're going to have to study and you're going to have to maintain your GPA if that's what you want to do. So understand what you're doing there, because there are consequences. There's like real consequences now to not going to class or not executing on your tests or staying out too late or whatever. Don't do that if you can't handle it. Understand what you have to do, where you need to be, and academically execute if that's what you're looking to do.
100%.
So that's kind of my last one I said for you too. Cool.
Yep.
That's everything. So thank you guys so much, number one, for the questions. Sorry that this was like such a prolonged episode that we've done. It was not our best planning and time management and stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
Again, we've talked about this. We're not great at that. So sorry about that. But seriously, thank you so much for the responses to this Google form. If any of you that did actually respond to the Google form, let us know, reach out and tell me if this was intuitive, if it made sense for this to be the way to submit Q&A questions. And if you have advice for a better way to do it for the next time, I'd be happy to try new stuff. So with that being said, I think that's everything, yeah?
Yeah, that's all I have.
So 30 episodes of Caddy Corner, that's nuts.
That's so crazy.
We're going to keep on going for the rest of our lives. So be here. Follow the podcast on audio. It's the little plus button in the top right if you're on Apple. If you're on Spotify, I got to be honest, I've never looked at it. So just follow us everywhere. It's super important that you listen to our show, especially if you're this deep into the episode. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and comment and share the video around. Also share the audio around because it doesn't hurt. We do After Hours, which is our more fun, lighthearted kind of just hangout show every single Wednesday except for last Wednesday, which we will explain. Well, I guess we already have explained in this week's episode of After Hours that you already listened to.
Yep.
If you're listening to this podcast. So, I'm Austin. He's Caleb. We're back every Friday with this show.
Wait. I got one thing I want to say. I just want to say a big thank you to every single one of you guys because you are the people who make this happen every week. And without you, we wouldn't be here. We would. But with you guys being here, it makes us even more happy to be here.
Thanks.
And so thank you. Continue to do what you do because my little audio listeners, you're my favorite.
Yeah, y'all are turning up.
Y'all are crazy. Y'all keep going, keep trucking. We're trying to get to 1,000 downloads by the end of the year.
We'll make it.
And we are
on pace.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, so definitely keep doing all the audio stuff. It's been super crazy. And also, big cool stuff coming down the line for sure.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff headed y'all's way.
Some cool stuff headed y'all's way. So I think that's it, yeah?
Yeah,
Sweet.
That's all I have.
All right, well, I'm Austin. He's Caleb, like I said. And we'll catch you boys next week.
Peace.
Peace.